Hi guys! Today I thought I would go over the first 8 Friday the 13th movies and just talk a little bit about them. These aren't really even in-depth reviews or anything like that. I just thought I would kind of go through them and say some things about them. So the first one is not my favorite. It might have been my favorite a long time ago, but honestly, the snake scene just really bothers me now. I didn't know it was a real snake, and now that I've found out, it just has slightly soured my movie watching experience. I really like Annie. I wish that she had a larger part in this movie. I feel like she's just really easygoing, friendly, and a good actress. I like that we get Crazy Ralph. He's pretty humorous without intending to be so. And I think if I had been in his place, I would not have mentioned the death curse. I would have just been like, oh well, good luck. We've got some great death scenes. I like Jack with the arrow through the neck, and I like Marcy with the hatchet through her face. I like all of the camp counselors. I don't have a problem with any of them, except for Alice's hair. Her hair is horrible. That little bowl cut. I don't know. It worked on Tootie, but not on her. And Steve. I don't really care for Steve. He is just, I don't know, something about him is very off-putting to me, and he annoys me. So I'm glad that he's not really a focus in this movie. I wish that we had seen Brenda's death scene. I think that would have been really good. Now, I went into this knowing the story, so I knew that Mrs. Voorhees was the killer, but I think they did a really good job of hiding it. So if I hadn't gone in knowing that, I might not have even realized it until the reveal. The scenes with Betsy Palmer and Adrienne King are a little bit too lengthy for me. I think that the running and fighting is just a little bit too long for my liking. And, you know, I especially hate how it's recapped in the second part. It just, I hate watching it too much. I think trimming some of that would have been good. I like the story of Jason, explains, you know, Mrs. Voorhees' motivation, even though it's quite flimsy. And I just, the ending, the surprise ending in the lake, I think that is one of the best jump scares in a movie. You're not expecting that. You know, you're thinking Mrs. Voorhees is the killer, she was beheaded, it's over, the girl's rescued, but no, there's one final scare, which is great. So great. So I do like this movie. It's not my favorite, but it's in my top 3. Next, we have Friday the 13th Part 2, and this has a slightly fresh approach because we have camp counselors who are trained to be counselors. They're already counselors and they're gathering together, kind of like a conference and like a relearning of their skill type thing. And I like the concept because I think these movies work the best when there is a camp setting, like a summer camp type situation where you've got counselors and kids in cabins that are, you know, nearby and cluster, and there's the lake. I think that's the best formula for these, and I don't like when it veers away and we just get random houses, you know, or Manhattan. I just think Jason works best in a small enclosed area that he can, you know, pick people off, and you have the whole isolated camping experience. Lake houses, cottages for rent, yeah, it's fine, but I feel like the formula is at its best here. So anyway, this is kind of like that formula. It's got the camp counselor aspect of it, and the original Camp Crystal Lake is just down the lake a little bit. You know, we get the beginning, we get Alice again. Poor Alice, she meets her demise. The recap is too long in the beginning of this. You know, it wasn't that long ago that the movie came out, so we already know what happened. We don't need that much explanation. I do like that Scott is kind of hanging upside down in this rope trap, and Jason kind of slices him. I kind of wish he had been used as a piñata first, but throat slash, pretty good. Mark, who's in the wheelchair, he gets the machete right in his face and then he rolls down all those stairs in his wheelchair. That's an epic death. Ralph, with the barbed wire, he gets garroted or garroted, however you pronounce that. And I think it's pretty brutal to have it be barbed wire. I mean, it's bad enough that it's just piano wire or razor wire or whatever it is. But yeah, the fact that it's barbed wire is pretty hardcore. And we get Sackhead Jason. He's killed a couple in a bedroom and now he's in the bloody bed under the sheet. And it's just quite the reveal, I think Sackhead Jason's pretty cute. And, I almost wish they would have left the sack on. I feel like when Ginny has her confrontation with him and we see him in all his glory, it's just not that scary. But I do like that he jumps in the window and he's got the machete still buried in his shoulder from where she ended up, hitting him with it. I do think Ginny is a great final girl. I like her chase scenes a lot more than the ones with Alice. I feel like she was just more interesting to watch when she was running and hiding and fighting Jason. And his little shack in the woods with his altar to his mother, that was a great reveal. I remember when I first saw that, I was kind of like, what the fuck is this? This is messed up. And yeah, the fact that I don't even know if Ginny, because Ginny puts the sweater on, the mom's sweater, and then there's the head. I don't know if she was going to hold the head in front of her and try and talk, or what she was going to do with that, because, she grabs at it, kind of freaks out and decides not to, and then Jason's coming, so she turns around and just hides the head, and, I'm not sure what her original intention was, but I would be kind of curious to know if she was going to somehow hold it in front of her face. Next, we have Friday the 13th, the 3D version. I think a lot of these effects would have been really cool to see in 3D. There was the spear gun that goes into someone's eye, and I feel like having that spear gun shot at the audience would have been really, really cool. We get a nerdy kid named Shelly who has the hockey mask originally. Jason picks it up and starts using it. Chris, the final girl, I really like her, and she was actually in an episode of Charlie's Angels, and I will see if I can get a clip of that and post it up. I have to go find which episode it is. I really like her. I think this movie has some of the cutest girls in it, and I like that Chris already had an experience with Jason. She fought him earlier in her life and survived, and then she fights him on this night and survives. I like pitchfork usage, and there's pitchfork usage in this. I like the fight scene with Chris and Jason when she ends up just, hanging him. I think that's pretty cool, which of course doesn't work. And I love the scene where she is in the canoe and she is just not sure what's going on. She looks at the house and sees mutant Jason looking at her from the top window, and you can just see him notice her, noticing him, and he gets excited and then runs down the stairs, runs out the door. It is terrifying. I think that is really, really a tense scene, and it's all a dream or a hallucination or a past memory. I don't know what any of it is. Then we have Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. And this one has Corey Feldman in it, who pretty much steals the movie, I think. And I don't mind this movie, but, it moves even further away from the original story, and this is where it starts losing me a little bit. Trish is okay. There's a part where she's trying to escape from Jason, and there's a dead body. When she opens the door, there's a dead body right in front of it, crumpled up. She screams. She goes to the other door, and there's a guy nailed to the doorway who's dead. She freaks out about that. And rather than crawl under his body and escape, or even that first body, jump over that first body and escape that way, she takes the time to grab a chair, break a window, and then crawl out. Trish puts up a really good fight with Jason. I think a lot of it is she's trying to protect her brother, Tommy. So she seems quite fearless, and so I think that actually makes her a pretty good final girl. She just does not give up. There are some good deaths in this one. There's a swan dive out a window, landing on a car. Crispin Glover asks for a fancy corkscrew because he can't find it, and Jason gives it to him in his hand and then kills him. There's the guy who's standing in front of the movie projector screen and Jason kills him through the projector screen. And then of course the ending, Tommy shaves his head to kind of pretend to be Jason and trick him psychologically, which was something that happened in part 2. And he just ends up going berserk and he stabs Jason over and over and over and, kills him. And there's a dog in that, and I don't know what happens to him. He jumps out the window, and then I kind of lost track of him after that. I don't know if he managed to make it or not. I don't know. Okay, Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. This one is probably tied with number 8 for my least favorite. I just don't care about this one. I don't like the characters. I'm annoyed by them. It's not even really Jason. It starts with Corey Feldman, and he's Tommy, he's young Tommy, he's watching people dig Jason up, and Jason comes back to life and kills them, and he's terrified and all that. Well, that was a dream that he was having on the way to his halfway house, because he's going to try and re-enter society. He has been very messed up from his interaction with Jason as a child, and he's going to this halfway house to kind of get back on his feet, and I don't like any of the people at the halfway house. Aside from Reggie. He is the one good part of this movie. He's funny. He's just such good comic relief. I love when he hits on Anita. He's just such a sly little guy. So there's a guy at the halfway house named Vic, and he axe murders Joey. Joey's back is turned, and Vic is annoyed with him, and he just starts hitting him with this axe and kills him. One of the paramedics who arrives acts very oddly. He reacts to the body in a very visceral way. He's horrified, and you start thinking something's up with him. Then we have another scene with him, and he just is focused on, and he doesn't seem quite right. So you start wondering. And anyway, all these kids at the halfway house start dying. There are pruning shears through the eyes. That's a pretty good one. Demon dies in the outhouse, which is a terrible way to go. And it's really weird that he and Anita sing to each other while he's in the outhouse. Pam is a terrible actress. I think she and Reggie try and escape Jason for quite a while, and she just annoys me the whole time. Tommy joins in. I think at some point we're supposed to suspect Tommy of being the killer. Once the final confrontation happens and Jason falls out of the barn loft onto these sharp spikes, and his mask comes off, we see it's the paramedic guy. So it wasn't even Jason. So anyway, we find out that this paramedic was the deceased Joey's dad, but no one knew it. And so he went mad, starts killing all these kids at the halfway house. It's a very flimsy story, it's not very good. And at the end, it's very kind of ambiguous. Tommy has the original Jason mask, the one with the machete cut in it, or it could be a replica since he makes masks all the time, I guess. He stands there, Pam's in the room, we don't know what happened. Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. This one is in my top 3 because, like I said earlier, we returned to the formula of having a summer camp and counselors, and I love that. That is what I think works best for Jason Voorhees. There's a great cemetery scene in the beginning. Jason is reanimated with lightning, which seems to happen quite a bit, and Tommy spends almost all this entire movie trying to convince the sheriff that Jason is alive and he is going to start killing people. They've changed the name of the town and the camp. It's no longer Camp Crystal Lake, and that, has very little effect on Jason. He doesn't care that the name has changed. I really like Megan. I think she's really a breath of fresh air, and she tries to help Tommy, so they're kind of like a little Bonnie and Clyde throughout the movie. There are some guys playing paintball, and Jason sees one with a machete, and he throws the guy into a tree. He leaves a blood smear on this smiley face that was carved into the tree, and I really like that. And then we turn back, and Jason is holding this guy's arm still attached to the machete. I think that's a really funny scene. I like that. And in these movies, if you have a machete, Jason is going to kill you for that machete so that he can have it. That's just a given. I think Sissy is super cute. I like her a lot. She and Megan are probably my favorites in this movie. And of course, we have Alice Cooper for the soundtrack. I love Alice Cooper, and you know, it was really exciting to have him participate in a Friday the 13th movie. There's a lot of forest scenery, which I love. There's a lot of misty woods and running around in it. The sheriff gets his back broken because he's bent in two, but you know, the wrong way. Like, just some of the things when Jason walks into the cabin with the children in it and the leaves are blowing in, and it just feels very autumnal, late summer, stuff like that. It just has this great feel to it. And the movie looks really good. The movie looks well produced to me. You know, there are car chases. It's a lot more exciting than the previous installments. And I just love it. And then we have, of course, Tommy trying to face off with Jason, and Megan uses the boat propeller, and Jason ends up at the bottom of the lake next to the Camp Blood sign, and he's tied to the rock and just floating there with his chain. I think that's a great ending. Next, we have Friday the 13th, Part 7, New Blood, or The New Blood. This one is okay. You know, it has Tina. Young Tina's annoying. Don't really care about her family. Her father, don't care that he's dead. I don't care about her psychiatrist. I don't care about the kids next door, except for the one guy that she likes. It's okay. It's interesting that they brought an element of, you know, her having powers so that she can face off with Jason, and I'm glad they didn't leave it where she ends up electrocuting him in that puddle. You know, if he died that way, I would have been very disappointed. There's just a whole extended battle with Jason, and I really like that. That's just the beginning of it. I love the decomposing Jason, so you can see his ribs and you can see his spine, and I like that. I wish they would keep his mask on, though, at this point. I don't find his face to be scary. I kind of think it takes away from the element of horror. And this one has a lot of good kills, like usual. The sleeping bag, he drags that girl out of the tent. She's in her sleeping bag struggling and trying to get away, and he just whacks her against a tree and kills her. That always amused me and my sisters. That one was our favorite. And yeah, it's an okay movie, but you know, once again, it's just two houses on the lake. Jason kills them. He kills some people in the woods. I don't know. There's not that summer camp element that I always find that I crave when I watch these. Then we have Friday the 13th, Part 8, which is my least favorite. It's the one I always think I'm really too hard on until I watch it again, and then I just can't stay interested in it. It's so long. It's like an hour and 40 minutes, and it's just not good. It's just not good. And there are some elements in it that I enjoy, but not a lot. I like when Jason sees the billboard with the goalie mask, and he kind of cocks his head like Michael Myers, and he's like, huh, that looks like me. And then he turns around and you see his mask, and then in the background you see the billboard guy. I like that. I like when he is on the rooftop fighting, and this guy is just punching him and punching him and punching him, and Jason gets in one shot, knocks his head off his shoulders, his head flips around in the air, lands in a dumpster. That's great. I love that. There's some punks in the city who are harassing him and yelling at him, and he turns around and he unmasks, and they like freak out. They're like, okay, we're leaving, this is not good. And then Jason masks back up so we don't see his face, which I appreciate. It turns around. That's funny. Rennie, who is such a boring character, she throws acid or toxic waste or something in Jason's face, and we see his face get even more ridiculous. I really wish they wouldn't show that. And he also makes some kind of like dinosaur slash crying sound, and I hate that. I hate that they do that to Jason. It undermines his tough guy character, because as the movies progress, he becomes less and less human, and they are humanizing him with this, but in the wrong direction. They're making him weak and scared and sad, and it's unnerving. Jason should be the strong, silent type. He's not supposed to scream in pain and sadness. It just, I don't know. Especially this late in the series. Earlier on, I think it would have made more sense. There's not much good to say about this movie. You know, there's some good kills, but not any exceptional ones, I don't think. And it's not a good movie. Not a good movie. If I ranked them, I would probably say 2, 1, 6, 3, 4, 7, 5, and 8. Those would be my rankings. Have a spooky day.